right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am Michelle Berman Michael, your host, and I am so excited about this episode. All of you guys who listen to me, tune in to everything that I'm doing, you know that I am a huge Jesus girl. I love him, and I wear him around my neck, on my arm. All of my tattoos are faith-based, which is a very important part of me. But I will tell you that when I meet another God-fearing mama and woman, there is something really powerful about that connection. So today's episode is a special one. Yes, we're going to talk about prospecting, and yes, we're going to talk about how you can use social to do that. But there's going to be a lot of God involved, and I hope that that's okay with all of you listening, because if not, you shouldn't be listening. But I am very excited to introduce my new friend, another fellow Michelle. It's always fun, right? Hi, Michelle. My name's Michelle. But another fellow Michelle, her name is Michelle Schaffer. She is a God-fearing entrepreneur, and she started a company called Kingdom Alliance, which was very intriguing to me when we first got connected, which is a faith-based personal development company. And another cool thing that you need to know about Michelle, because it is going to be a part of our conversation, is that she has made millions in network marketing prior to becoming who she is now, and which she'll tell you a lot about her story. But what we really talked about offline before we even started, and I love that Michelle said this because it's very important for this conversation, is that she has been prospecting for 25 years, which means that she was prospecting long before social media was even a thing, right? So I'm 36. I just turned 36 about a month ago, and I've been prospecting on social since 2014. I built my company around it, built my career around it. But Michelle, you've been doing this since I was a teenager, right? So before we get any further, Michelle Schaffer, I am so honored to have you. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and you're a super mom.
Oh my gosh. Well, it takes one to know one is what I always say, because other super moms inspire us younger super moms. So it takes one to know one is really the truth. But Michelle, I'm excited about this conversation. We're gonna just jump right in because there's so many layers to you as far as how you've become who we all now know as Michelle Schaffer. So will you take us all the way back to when you first got into this entrepreneurial space mindset way back in the network marketing days, or as far back as you want to take us, but just let us into who is Michelle and how did she become who she is?
Thank you. That could be a really long answer. So I'll do Cliff Notes version. I think I probably was always an entrepreneur. I think I always thought outside of the box and didn't follow the status quo that everybody else was doing as far back as I can remember. I just kind of I thought differently than the most of the people around me, and really was not much of a rule follower. Now, I like to say I follow all the rules that make sense to me, and I won't follow any of the rules that don't make sense to me. And so that, in general, kind of led me down a path. The first, let me go back even further. I am a mother to three children. They're all grown adults now. I became a mom at 16, had my daughter at 16, got married to my high school sweetheart, had my son at 19, and was divorced by 21. I was a single mom for almost 7 years, met my now spouse. We've been together for 26 years. And we had my third, who's going to be 24 this year. So I have been a mom the bulk of my life. I'm 53 years old now. And so I have been a mom since I was 16. I've been a mom for 36 years. And the first part of my career, I became a stylist and a makeup artist here. I live in Temecula, Southern California. And I built a very successful business doing that. I thought before I did that I wanted to be a teacher, because what a great job for a mom. You're working when your kids are in school. But I did the math on it and I was like, I will literally be living at a poverty level. It's going to take me 5 years to do it. And I was like, I'm out. I don't have 5 years to spend on school so that when I'm done, I could be working at the poverty level. Always felt a bent towards that industry, the beauty industry, and built a business behind the chair for 10 years. Now, as I stood behind the chair, I had clients that would come in all the time and try to prospect me into their network marketing business, but I never knew anybody that made a career out of it. And when I say that, I mean somebody that made six figures a year or more, somebody that didn't have another job. It was like a side thing. I thought network marketing at the time was what bored housewives did, just to like have social hour and make a couple $100s. That was my impression. And so it wasn't that I thought it was bad or weird or like an illegal pyramid like so many people think. I just it wasn't a way for me to make more money than I was already making. So I was not interested. When I met my now husband, we met on a blind date in the year 2000. I came to find out that he was very successful in network marketing, making multiple hundreds of thousands a year in network marketing. So as we dated, I got to see that side. I got to see the lifestyle. I got to see that, oh, this, you actually can build something that you make money. But I still wasn't interested. It wasn't until we got married, had our daughter, it wasn't until she was around 2 that something in me knew that my life had to change. I had a freshman in high school, I had a middle schooler, and I had a 2-year-old. And my husband owned a mortgage company. And on any given day, we were off in 5 different directions. I was at the salon, so the baby went to daycare, the middle school, high school, and my husband was at the mortgage company. And I felt like I was moving the calendar like day by day. It was just life was happening fast. And I felt if I don't do something, my kids are going to grow up and move out and they will have never known me because I spent 7 years as a single mom working night and day and not getting to spend the amount of time with them that I would have wanted to spend with them because I had to make ends meet. I had to make money. Timing was right. Somebody sat in my chair and prospected me. And so I said yes, jumped into the network marketing profession because of my husband's background. He mentored me, and that began us working together side by side for the last, since then, for the last 24 years of 26, we've worked together. We were very successful in that profession. We're with a couple companies, started our own company along the way. That didn't end successfully, but it was still a great experience. And with our daughter, our youngest daughter, because there was a 10 and 12-year gap, both of us took her to and from school from kindergarten till she could drive a car. Both of us were 100% present for her life because of the success that we had in network marketing. And I've lived a very, very financially leveraged life. So I think in leverage when it comes to business.
Well, and
Um,
that's my favorite word in the English dictionary. So,
it's
good
powerful
word.
and profound. And in 2017, now being a woman of faith my entire life, but I was always taught you don't talk about faith and you don't talk about politics in business if you want to be successful. So I never did. I never talked about either. But as I was growing in my walk with the Lord, growing personally and professionally, I began to feel this nudge on my heart that like you do all this work in business and you're promoting all these things, you're never promoting me. I want you to promote me more. Well, I wanted to be obedient to what I felt like God was saying, but I also didn't want to mess anything up in my life. It's like, I don't want to, I built this great business. We're making amazing money. How can I be obedient, but also not mess anything up over here? So in 2017, my way of responding to that was I started a podcast. And I talked about everything through the lens of faith. And I didn't market it. I didn't do it. I was like, I'm being obedient, but I'm being really quietly obedient. I'm doing what you asked, but I'm not doing it on a microphone. I mean, on a megaphone. And that was called Sold Out Entrepreneur, SOULED. And doing that dramatically changed me. So I began to speak about things in the most authentic way that I ever had because I wasn't worried about offending this group or this group. It was just me and my microphone. This is before podcasts were audio. I mean, video, they were only audio. So it's just me and my microphone speaking about anything and everything that I wanted to speak about. And that really just completely changed me. And I began to notice when I could not be the full version of me because I was the full version of me on this podcast. So fast forward a couple of years, 2019, it was the fall of 2019, and I felt like I was being called out of this business that we had made millions of dollars in, and I didn't know what to. I didn't know what direction I was being called, but I knew I was being called out. And so I really began to pray and journal at the end of that year. I felt God tell me a couple things very specifically, and that was the catalyst for me starting Kingdom Alliance. It was supposed to be something in person. COVID happened, transitioned the entire thing to an online model. And for the last 6 years, have been very, very focused on building that community, a faith-based community, and teaching people how to really step into their actual identity, their kingdom identity, and doing it through academies and classes. And so you develop this amazing coaching program. and that kind of gets you caught up. This year, at the beginning of the year, that business, Kingdom Alliance, didn't produce the financial fruit, produced amazing spiritual fruit, amazing impact, but not the financial fruit that we had hoped. So at the beginning of this year, my husband and I sat down and said, okay, what are we looking at for the next 5 to 10 years, and how do we accomplish our goals? And so the result of that conversation was us both getting licensed to do real estate, me real estate and on the mortgage side. And we are actively building a real estate team and are going to build a 20-year career in the next 5 years. And so the common thread through everything, all the way back, even when I was doing hair, was prospecting.
Mm.
Every single business I have ever built has been built around connecting with people and influencing them to come on board with me in one way or another. So, long answer to that question.
No, but what a perfect segue, because that it's true no matter what industry you're in. And this is why I love what we do, right? Because if you're good at prospecting, that transcends any industry, transcends any, category of career that you might be in. And people always say to me, Michelle, well, why do you only work in mortgage and real estate? And I'm like, well, I don't. That's just where my primary business has been from, because I love those types of entrepreneurs, because they're like us. They're high D's, they're big drivers. They kind of have to be in order to be successful. And in theory, right, that's my specialty. But the truth is that what we're talking about here, and you just proved my point 100%, is it does not matter what industry you're in. Prospecting is at the root of all of it, right? If you're network marketing, if you're a hairdresser, if you own a salon, right? If you're a financial planner, if you're an insurance agent, I mean, if you're a car salesman, like it doesn't matter what it is, right? Prospecting is at the root of it. So maybe this is a simple question, but I'm excited to see what your answer to it will be. How do you define prospecting in your lens, or would you define it?
Yeah, I don't use the word prospecting because I think if you think about prospecting as prospecting, you're already going down the wrong road. I think of it as connecting. So every business that I have started or been involved with has all been wrapped around serving. It's all in service of people. When I did hair, I was in service of people to help them to, feel confident in their outer beauty. In network marketing, we were in service of people to help teach them how to, take control of their financial future. Whatever product we were selling, that was still the basis of that. In Kingdom Alliance, working to help people, serving people so that they can step into their truest identity. And now in the real estate market, serving people with the biggest transaction that they'll do in their lifetime for most people. And so instead of thinking about when I'm out trying to meet people to prospect them, I am meeting people with the intention of connecting with them to find out how I can serve them. I believe that those that are the most successful have the most service-minded hearts. And they know that when you are truly in service of other people, and that is your goal, is to serve them well, that all the rest just comes naturally.
Well, it's true, right? Like when we send a message to someone, there may be an intent, right? And I'm speaking of myself here, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with me. But when we send a message to someone to offer them something from what we do, or to say, hey, I would love to get on a call with you because I think there might be something worth having a conversation around. I think it's your point is so perfect and valid, because if I go into that thinking, oh, I hope I get something out of them, like I'm selfishly looking at it for me, then I've already lost before the conversation's even started, because the person on the receiving end is going to feel that, not
Yes.
just in my message and how I respond, but in also how I act when I'm on the phone with them, when I'm on Zoom with them, whatever that might be. Right. And I hate to say it, but like people can feel that gross, slimy car salesman type feeling. And if you're a car salesman listening to this, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to call you out, but most of them suck. Right. And ironically, one of my favorite clients that is I'm working with right now, who actually just got into mortgage, I kid you, not even 30 days ago, was one of the number one car salesmen in the entire state that he lived in. And he got out of car sales to come into mortgage. And that's a whole fun conversation that him and I have had. So I say that kind of laughingly, but when you get on Zoom with these people to introduce yourself or to meet them after you've sent the message, however you queued that message up, that person on the receiving end is going to feel it, right? So I always look at it almost exactly how you look at it, from the perspective of, if I am sending a message to this person, it's because I can solve a pain that they or their community might have, right? So why do I want to do a webinar for your company? Why do I want to do a webinar for a mortgage company? Or why do I want to be a keynote speaker at an event? Because I feel like my way of serving is saying to this audience of people, I can help you because I've felt where you are. I have felt the pain that you've experienced or are currently experiencing. And I feel like I have this value to add to you or add to them. So I love how you said that, because honestly, I have always known it when I send the messages, but it's different when you hear somebody say that and realize, yes, I'm prospecting them. That's like, the surface level word. But in theory, I need to look at it, and I need to take your advice, Michelle, and say, I'm looking at this as a way to serve, because that's really what we're doing.
It really is. And you're 100% right. You can feel it. I don't care if it's just a message, like a cold message through one of the social media platforms. You can feel it. You can feel their intention. There's energy behind it. And we are, we are, the spiritual realm is real. There is energy behind that. You can feel it. You ever walk into the room, you're like, I don't know, I just had a bad vibe. That is a spiritual energy. And so
Mm.
when you're typing something out or having a conversation, that energetically people feel it. And so it's really profound. And in my younger days, when I was more, I wasn't more of a driver, but I was probably more self-centered in my desires. And as I've gotten older, it's just, I realize how much more I get to receive the more that I serve others. And
Mm.
so I'm always looking for a connection. I'm looking for a way that I can connect with somebody through service. Just an example, this morning I saw a message on Facebook as I was laying in bed. I know, scrolling, you're not supposed to, but I do it. And so I was
Did you
laying
have
in
your
bed.
blue light glasses on? No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, actually, these are supposed to protect you from the blue light. It was like 4 in the morning, and I saw this woman. She's moving to my town, and she's like, "We are running out of time. I'm desperate to find a home. What do you, if you have anything in these areas, just on a local page, like a community page." So I messaged her, and I said, "I don't know if you already have an agent, but I'd love to work with you." She does have an agent, but I still would like to help her. And so you know, I genuinely went in. Would be great. Wouldn't it be great if she didn't have an agent and I could connect with, but she does have an agent. But I actually genuinely care about, the fact that she can't find something. And maybe I can be the connecting point to connect the dots between her and somebody else. So I called a home that I'm trying to list. I said, I think I have a buyer for your home. And I think the reason it didn't sell before was because it's meant for this person. That do I benefit from it? I do, but I genuinely want to serve. And I think when that's the genuine heart around what you're doing, um, it makes your job more enjoyable, no matter what your job is. It makes you feel like, see, I absolutely trust that whatever happens is part of God's plan, whether it's for my benefit or not. Even the things that are negative are part of his plan for me. I believe in his sovereignty over my life. And so when something doesn't happen, I believe that that was for me. And when something does happen, I believe that was for me. So it takes a lot of that anxiety and pressure off, feeling like I have to perform for other people or pitch them or say all these sweet words that tickle their ears so that I can convince them to say yes to me. I am never trying to convince them to say yes, because
Mm.
I believe that if you have to convince somebody to do something, you're always having to convince them. You will continually have to convince them instead of them feeling your genuine heart to serve them, and they want to take part in whatever service it is that you are offering them. And
Mm.
that is a game changer in any business, because people are excited to work with you because they know that your heart is actually for them first.
Yeah. Oof. Oof. My gosh, Michelle, this is like, my brain keeps thinking, oh my gosh, I need to record a video on this. I have just said that to myself like 5 times while listening to you, because I do think prospecting, the term, people have a bad taste in their mouth for it in so many different capacities. I mean, I just recently did a video on this exact thing about how prospecting gives people a bad, or it can have a bad rep and give people this kind of
The
gross
ick.
feeling. And somebody
The ick.
commented on it and he said, well, there are so many outbound prospectors. Why should we believe you? And I remember reading the comment thinking at first, I was like, well, that was kind of snidey. But then also, I stopped for a second and I reread it multiple times. And I'm like, hold on a second. There's an opportunity in here for me to get on camera and answer this question about why I believe you should listen to me. And the answer to that question, when I actually recorded the video, was because I have truly felt the pain of not doing what I am telling you to do. So, meaning there may be 50 other people that you want to listen to, and they're probably really smart and they're probably amazing, and they may be the right person for you. But if I can say one thing that my own life has taught me that will influence you, to me, that is why I do it. Right. And we're put on this planet, I believe, to be fishers of men. This is so fun. This is like the theme of my day today. I've been talking about fishers of men in every Zoom meeting, literally today that I've had. But we're put on this planet to be fishers of men and to create disciples. So for me, if my I met God on a toilet in November of 2024 created what I now teach, which is drivers and levers, which in turn created the opportunity for me to go talk about God in more places. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing anyway? So when
Yes.
when I think about prospecting and trying to go get more people to use drivers and levers, I don't see it as this negative, gross thing of like Michelle's just trying to make money, right? I see it as like this has genuinely changed my life and changed how I perceive my day to day and how I have been able to be more present as a mom and as a wife and as a friend and all of those things. So why would I not pour this back out into the world? Why would I not send messages to people to get them to want to have a conversation with me about it? So, man, you've just made my brain think so hard right now in all of this. But don't you agree that it prospecting, like maybe the term itself, gives people a bad taste in their mouth, and
Um,
maybe
it's a
that's
it's a trigger. It's a trigger and it's an ick for sure because what the word prospecting makes somebody feel like is I am just a dollar sign to you. You don't care about me as a person or what I need. You're looking at me as a means to an end for you. And
mm,
that is true for many, many, many people in and across every profession. And that's why they feel it. Another just layer that I'll add to this is since you're talking about being fishers of men, Matthew 28, it's like it is a theme of my life and everything that I've done. And I have this phrase that I use called lifestyle evangelism. And I'm not talking about beating people over the head with the Bible or even preaching to them. I'm talking about your very life, the way you live your life, the way you speak, your success, your health, your relationships, all of them should be screaming examples of the representation of a life walking with the Lord. Steve Martin says, represent it so well that they want it. Represent whatever it is, whatever you're doing out there, whoever's watching or listening, whatever it is that you represent it so well that other people want it. Well, that rings very, very true for me with my walk with the Lord. And so, being that I have seen every different little aspect of my career has been in service to people, and being a shining example of what it is to work with somebody that loves the Lord. So everything that I do as if I'm doing it for him, representing him. So that brings a whole different level of prospecting and reaching out and connecting with people because I'm so bold about the fact that I love the Lord that I know that if I'm out there flipping people off and cursing at people and like just being a total bee everywhere, how am I? Is that a good representation of the God that I love? It isn't. So it's another level for me of accountability. It keeps me constantly growing and it keeps me in check, knowing that if I am who I say I am, and if he is who he says he is, then I should darn well be the most hope-oriented person that people know, the most service-oriented person that people know, the most successful, vibrant, energetic, healthy person that people know. And so that is a standard that I live by.
I feel like we need to do another episode where we talk about nothing but Bible verses because there's so much in what you just said that's so good. One of my favorite Psalms is God is within her, she will not fall.
Mhm.
Which I feel like that's what I just heard you
I have
say.
that somewhere here.
It's on my counter in my bathroom. So every morning when I miscarried in 2024, my husband, I think, had a really hard time with like, how do I serve my wife and how can I be here for my wife? And I mean, mind you, the fact that he was also grieving at the same time. I mean, we were going through this together, but he served me in that way by giving me this Bible verse on a really pretty cross that sits on my desk or on my on my counter right in front of where I brush my teeth every morning. And it's this constant reminder that all is well. There is always a well, all is well, right? And God is literally oozing through my veins. So all I have to do is just go talk about him,
Yeah.
right? Because if I talk about him, how can I be sad if I'm talking about God? Because you can't be, right? Um, but what I also hear you say when it comes to prospecting, I'm curious for you because it sounds to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like you almost don't even have to anymore because it's so organic for you in a lot of categories of your life. But I do know from our conversations offline that you do still actively outbound prospect. So, and of course, that's never going to go away. We're always going to have to do that no matter how successful we are in our careers. Um, but I would love for you to talk about the transition from, you know, how you prospected maybe from a networking marketing perspective, because I do think that's different. I have several friends in the network marketing world, one of which is about to have her first baby, and it's really cool to watch. She's very transparent about how much money she's making and how she's encouraging people to come be a part of it. And I feel like she does a really good job, but then you get the gross messages from people that like are not doing such a great job about it. So I just want to know from your mind, how do you transition from the type of messages that you would send for maybe a networking marketing perspective to you're now selling luxury real estate, and how do you talk to somebody about that?
Yeah, it's similar and different, and I will say that unfortunately, the culture. Listen, I don't have many bad things to say about network marketing. It provided me with an amazing lifestyle and a lot of financial benefits and a lot of growth. But unfortunately, the culture in network marketing in general, just like as a general rule, people are going to say not my company, but as a general rule, the culture of network marketing is creates an environment of competition. It just does. It just creates an environment of competitiveness.
Mm,
Not that there's nothing wrong with competition. I believe in capitalism and all, that that creates healthy levels of excellence because you have to rise, right, to meet with the competitors. But what can happen, and especially a lot of times people get into network marketing because they really need the money. Like they're desperate financially. They're in a position like they're about to lose their job or they hate their job. There's reasons that people get into network marketing, or they fall in love with the product and it's life changing, and then now they can't stop telling everybody. Those are the best prospectors because it's super organic. It's
mm,
super organic. They weren't even trying. They lost 30 pounds. Everybody saw. Their skin was dry and gross. Now it's beautiful and young. Like those are very, very easy prospecting conversations because people can visually see with their eyes and you don't have to say a word. So those are great and organic. But it's all the other people, the people that get involved because they heard a story financially or they want that story to
mm,
be theirs. And so
mm,
there's a level of desperation that people feel. They feel it. And no matter how much you try not to be desperate when you're talking, because you want to get that sign up, that creates this immediate like resistance in the other person. And so
yep.
those people have a lot harder time prospecting because they can't get over that. That takes a lot of personal development to get over your own personal need and just connect with somebody for the purpose of serving them
Mm,
beyond serving you. But it's always about connection. I don't care if it's network marketing, real estate, it doesn't matter. It's always about connecting with a person because I could be the best of the best. Like, I'll just take real estate. I could literally be like a savant in real estate and I can negotiate better than anybody. But if there is no common ground and we don't connect as people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work. I feel the same even when showing homes. We had an open house this weekend and people were walking in. I could see it on their face. I could see it was a beautiful home, but there's something when people walk into a home, there's just something they feel. It's like dating. You could be on a dating app and you go on all these dates and on paper the guy looks great and you go out on a date, you're like, I don't know, it just wasn't there. What
mm,
wasn't there? It's the same thing in prospecting. It's the same thing in across there's just something there. Now, how do you become a person that has that thing for everybody? That's the actual question when it comes to prospecting. Because what most people do is they prospect to people from their personality type. And so they're only reaching that personality type. Those are the only people that can connect. The master level people that are amazing at connection, they go beyond their own personality and they understand how to find the need and personality and traits and comfortability, creating that rapport with anybody, no matter what their personality, their age, their background, their religion. No, it doesn't matter about their demographic. The expert level people know how to find common ground and connect with people regardless of that. And so I think one of the reasons most people fail in prospecting in general is because they're speaking to them from their personality only. And you're bumping out like 3/4 of the rest of the world when you do that.
Yeah, I'm literally writing that down because they're prospecting from their personality only. Like that's so good. I just had to write that, Michelle, because I'm not even kidding you. In my mind, I'm like, hold on, I want to know about personality traits now. Hang on. Because one thing I will say, and I've done a lot of research on the high Ds and the high Is on a disc profile, which I think you and I have actually, we even may have talked about that on our first meeting forever ago when we first met. But I studied the D and the I, and there are some pitfalls for Ds and Is when it comes to prospecting. Like a high I, for example, has a really hard time not talking. They always have to be the one sort of talking first. And also, a high I has a problem where they're chatters so much that because they're talking so much, they don't have the capacity or they lack the capacity to slow down and really listen to what someone's saying. And then you have the high D that is so forward thinking, forward, drive, drive, drive forward that they often forget that sometimes people like an S or a C, they don't operate like that, right? They have to take 48 hours or 72 hours or they have to sleep on it, right? Like whereas you and I as bigger Ds, we're just like, yep, yep, no or no, right? We're kind of just in or out. But it was really cool to study from that perspective, but I hadn't looked at it from an overall personality perspective. And I think it would be worth the research, clearly, from what you're saying, because I will tell you the maybe you can speak to this too, the quintessential saying of like you are who you surround yourself with, right? Is good and you got to be in the right rooms and all of those things. But I also, to your point, if you're going to be a truly masterful prospector, salesperson, whatever terminology you want to use, I see it as like from listening to you, you almost have to be a chameleon. You have to be willing to take your coat off and put someone else's on and say, how can I best serve Michelle today? When Michelle's an S or a C, or Michelle's a really calm, quiet, more reserved person, yet I'm this really big, outgoing, big, huge, bubbly personality. How do we make those two worlds connect so that I can serve her or him? Um, so yeah, I mean, does chameleon sound right to you? Does that sound like the right phrase, or would you use a different word?
I would probably use a different word because to me, being a chameleon is just putting on almost a fake outer coat. And I'm
Okay.
not, I'm all about authenticity. So what I call it is becoming a master communicator. So I teach, I don't know the one that you're talking about with the letters. I teach a much more simplistic one that's based on color code and I use animals and stuff. And I
Oh,
do
I love that.
four generalized personality types. Now within the four, there's 1,000 like nuances, but I just generalize and teach within the four. And and so what most people do when they do a personality training for themselves or whatever, they are focused on what their personality is. That you learn everything about your personality. What they don't do is learn about the other personality traits and how you can reach them. So let me give you an example. Me and my husband are like we have completely different personality types. We have similar visions, similar we have many things in common, but we think differently, we process differently, we socialize differently. And so if I really want to get something across to my husband in my personality, where he calls me a shoot ready aim. I make fast decisions. Like I'm going to say something, I'm going to take action on it literally 3 seconds ago. And he is different. He needs time to think about it and process it and whatever.
Mm.
So if I, as his wife, want I need his support and I need his feedback on something. If I require him to give me an answer in that moment, that's not going to serve him the best, and which in turn is not going to serve me the best. So rather than being a chameleon, what it is it's becoming a master communicator, being able to identify specific things in the way that somebody else is communicating with you, so that when you communicate with them, you are speaking to them in a language that makes sense to them, that makes
Mm.
them immediately feel comfortable with you, like you're getting them. I'll tell you one of the biggest compliments I get, and I get it all the time. I will tell you, I know my personality type. I'm not going to say what it is, but everyone that I'm with says to me, oh my gosh, we're so much alike. I find that to be a wild compliment because I have developed a rapport with them that no matter what their personality type is, they feel comfortable enough with me
Mm.
that they feel that I'm relating to them. And I feel like I win when I get that. And I know because I know what their personality, I know my own. And so oftentimes it's definitely not true, but I just laugh and I giggle because I want to create, if I can create a connection with people, then they feel that the words that I'm saying are for their benefit because I truly care, not because I'm just trying to make a dollar.
Yeah.
Then that is how you build lifelong business relationships and you're no longer prospecting, you're serving people. There is a huge difference, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And just thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people listening to this are going to think from a deep sort of personal level of and I know I am, right? Like a self-reflection, look in the mirror. I like to think I'm very, very good at prospecting. I mean, I teach it for a living, right? But there's so much that I'm not doing from that perspective of what you're talking about here, where can I connect on social with someone that is not like me? I'm actually
Right.
sitting here thinking about that. I'm thinking about like the last 5 to 10 new connection calls that I've been on, which have been amazing. I've had an incredible month of connection calls with people that have been either referred to me or that I've personally reached out to. But now I'm sitting here thinking, how many of them are like me? Are we all high D's? Are we big I's? Like, what are we, right? So it's almost exciting for me to think about it from that perspective of I'm going to go back through the list and ask myself that question. Like, did I do a good job at prospecting someone not like me? So it's just a very good perspective shift and one I really appreciate because I think in order for us to genuinely become better at what we're doing, we need to constantly feel challenged and stretched. And how can you think about something differently? Um, and I have a very simple tactical question for you because now I'm just curious. When you send a message to someone, I mean, back in the day, right, for you, it wasn't through social because we didn't have that, right? I started prospecting through social in 2016, 17-ish when Instagram, Facebook were really big. LinkedIn was really big on the scene, but not from what it is now. It was more career oriented. But I went to school for journalism and media studies and PR. So part of what we had to do is we had to be on social to be able to pay attention to things that were happening in the world. Right. I even had a class where every day when we showed up for class, we knew we were going to get a test handed it to us the moment we walked in the door. And it was how well did we know current events? So we had to be on social in order for that to be even passable for us. But how you prospected in 2008, let's just say, I'm just making up a date, versus how you prospect today in 2026, does it sound different in a message? Like, and can you explain to us maybe what you would have said in 2008 versus what you would say today if you were to like write it out?
Yes, I can because I still get those messages from people every single week. It'd be like, I'm 53, I'm menopausal. I often will talk about it and make jokes about it. And so then inadvertently I'll get at the inbox. I saw your post or I saw your video about this and about, having hot flashes or whatever. I have this great product that I think you'd like to try. I did that too. Totally did that too. And that's them prospecting. They're
Mm.
trying to and I'm just like, when you said hi, I already knew what you were doing. Versus if that were me now, um, I would I would connect. Oh my gosh, same. Like I am with you. I hate that. I wake up in the middle of the night with hot flashes. I wouldn't even talk. I would not, I would build relationship first and foremost. Because if you can't build a relationship, then they are never going to trust anything that you have to say. The
Mm.
reason that network marketing works in theory is because when you are talking to people you already have a relationship with, they already trust you. It's the trifecta. Know you, like you, trust you,
Yeah.
right? And when you can have all three, then it's easier to get somebody to say yes to something you're talking about. I When I was a stylist, I could recommend anything to my clients and they would buy it. Matter of fact, quick tiny story. I had the Mirena IUD back then. I
Oh
had a
my
Mirena.
gosh, I had that too. That's what I
Okay,
had in college.
I had the Mirena IUD. It worked amazing I had very, very severe PMS before that. I had no symptoms. It took away all my PMS. I didn't even have a period, good or bad. I don't know. That's not the point. And so I talked about it with my client. I had all women clients. I've talked about, I should have been a rep for Mirena. I sold more Mirena IUDs to my clients because they trusted me and they knew
Mhm.
I was just giving them honest opinions. I could have been literally a rep for that company. I sold hundreds of them to my clients. And why? Because they knew me, they liked me, and they trusted my opinion. So if you're out there prospecting, you're like, oh my gosh, this person, and I did this too. This person has a lot of influence. They have a big crowd. They'd be great on my team. They could make me so much money. That doesn't work anymore because if you don't create an actual connection with that person, everything you say is just it's going in and out of it's going in one ear and out the other. But when somebody genuinely actually feels like you have a connection, if I can't make a connection, I don't prospect.
That's
I
true.
don't prospect them if I can't make a connection because my words are just another word in the sea of people that is social media that are trying to sell you everything. Social
Mm.
media is a gigantic shopping cart now. It's way less social than it used to be, and it's much more just about people out there prospecting everybody for everything. And
Hmm.
so just like you drive past a billboard on the freeway and you don't even look at it anymore, that's what social media has become for most people.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why I just had this conversation today with a friend who is not a client, no personal gain, just literally a friend, another mutual female keynote speaker in the industry. And I said to her, I said, there's so much AI in prospecting at this point that I'm really irritated because I can, like, for example, I saw a post and I saw a comment on the post from someone who I know very, very well. So this friend of mine comments on this other person's post, very genuine, really good comment. Like she clearly took time to write that. And then it was an auto respond many chat response from this person that she had commented on this post about. And I know both the people. So I screenshotted it and I sent it to the person who had posted it. And I said, hey, this video you posted is one of the best videos on the internet today. Like, phenomenal video. But, like, what's going on with this messaging situation? Because did you not read her comment? And I was essentially saying, why did you do that? Right? Turn it off. But I think for me, AI is a really hard conversation for me around when it comes to prospecting specifically, because I just don't think that anybody could ever do what you just described better than yourself, right? Meaning,
You
like,
cannot automate relationships. Automation
absolutely.
is amazing. It is
No.
amazing. It's very helpful, but you
Yeah,
cannot. And what people are trying to automate is the relationship. It's
exactly.
all
Because
hard
they want it
stuff
to be
that they
easy.
need to have. Yes.
They want it to be easier and they want it to be scalable, right? They're like, oh, well, I can't respond to every single message. Well, then I guess you just don't want to be that successful. Because I tell everybody, no matter what, if you send me a message, you are getting a response from me. Me, Michelle, I am typing that back or voice noting that back with my own two fingers. Because I think it matters. It's so, so important. But I will say, and maybe we can end on this question because I'm curious, from a personal development standpoint, Michelle, I think a lot of people listening to this would ask the question of, well, doesn't that bottleneck me? Right?
Yeah.
Like, meaning if I'm the only person that can respond to messages or I'm the only person that can send them because I'm the only one that has that authentic voice and all that authentic way of writing that's going to come across well, how do you scale that?
Well, I think no, first of all. And I think that people are already so burnt out on AI that they're muting it out. And what's going to happen is analog life, analog communication is going to be so appreciated. And when it comes to everybody, oh, scale, scale, scale. Do you know how many people actually scale? It's the number is so small, and very few people in reality. Oh, I can't answer all those messages. That's just laziness. That's your
Mm-hmm.
actual job. That's the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. We're all busy. You're a mom, you have children, you have to feed them, you have to, then that is just a time management issue. That is not an issue of you have to. I have been in business for the bulk of my adult life since I was in my 20s. And I have known very few people that didn't have time to answer their messages. They didn't want to because it's easier to automate a random message and not have to get involved and create relationships. Creating
Mm-hmm.
relationships takes longer, but it lasts longer. It's a
Takes longer,
foundational
but
thing.
lasts longer. Amen.
It's a foundational principle. And because of all the automations and all the AI, we're losing it. You know, the whole there's a whole generation of people that has such there's two generations, beginning with the millennials and now with Gen X. Their communication skills suck. They have such unbelievably bad communication conversational skills because this is how you communicate. You
Mm.
know, and we learned we didn't have any of that. So we had to, like, if we were going to go meet with somebody, we had to drive in our car or fly in an airplane to meet with somebody. There was no this where we're, you know, you're in one state, I'm in another. I do this with people around the world. We
Mm.
didn't have that ability. But because you can send somebody a message and never have them hear your voice or see your face, the communication skills have gotten really, really lacking. You can hide behind things. You can use AI to speak for you. Oh, I don't know how to spell it out. Now, AI, I think, is a great tool to help you with communication, but it is not a replacement for you.
Never.
You know, if you're prospecting anything, like one of the things that I do, just to kind of tell a story, one of the things that I do is I interview local businesses and I tell their story. I talk about their business, but I tell their story. So if I'm trying to have AI write this beautiful post about them versus doing a short little 5-10 minute interview with the person telling their story, we've seen, all of us have seen across social media, what happens when somebody tells a story. I started this business. It looks like it's going to go out of business. I started it because of XYZ. And then guess what happens? Social media gets a hold of it and people are moved by what? Their
The
story.
story.
Not that AI did this beautifully crafted message. It's the human story. We're human beings. We need to connect with human beings. Prospecting is has become like a dirty word. It's ugly, it's automated, it's fake, and there's no connection. And if you get a sale through an automation, that is not a customer, that's a sale. There's a difference between a sale and a lifelong customer.
Very much so.
Automation will create a sale. This is what a lot of the influencers do. They just create sales. Oh, my audience. You don't have an audience. You just make a lot of sales versus people that build communities and have relationships and have people invested in each other. That's a completely, those are not the same. And I think people think they're the same.
No, I mean, I could not agree more. And I preach it. Content is the foundation of how you prospect, and what you post matters from a connection standpoint, right? Like if you look at my content, if you read anything about me, if you watch a video, like I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I love to run, I love CrossFit, I'm in my Pilates era.
Mhm.
I started Pilates like 2 months ago and I'm like so addicted at this point. It's almost disgusting. I bought my first matching set off Amazon, much to the demise of my husband. But the truth is like that's who I am. That's who I want to be to the world. And why that matters is because when I send you a message or when I send someone a message, like I am exactly who I say I am in my content as what you read in that message.
Yeah.
Like they match. And then you meet me in real life. And you said it, like the best compliment, right? Is when someone's like, I feel like you've known you forever. Or mine is, Michelle, you're exactly who I thought you were. Darn right I am, because there is no difference, right? I'm the only thing most people laugh about is I'm only 5'3", and most people think I'm way taller. So when they meet me in real life, they're like, whoa, you're a lot smaller. I imagined you bigger. I'm like, thank you, I think.
It's a compliment. You have big Zoom energy.
I guess so, right? But Michelle, there's so much in this episode. We honestly could talk for a whole nother hour because you are such a wealth of knowledge. Someone who's just lived it and has experienced it. And it's so beautiful to be on screen with you and just listening to all of your wisdom, because I feel like you really impart a lot on me. And I know my audience is going to appreciate it too. And I hope to be to be half of you in a few years.
Oh,
Um,
you'll be way more.
I'm just gonna keep doing it the way that I'm doing it, because you've been very validating for me too, from that perspective of serve before anything. Serve before anything. And you don't always have to scale everything. I think also we could do a whole nother episode on the word scaling, because I think sometimes that can be a dirty word. Um, so just first and foremost, let me say thank you as we wrap this episode up. What I would love for you to answer for our audience is, Michelle, what do you have coming up next? How can we get connected to you? And just tell people how they can dial into what you're doing.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed this episode and being on here with you, getting to know you better. And what do I have going on? Well, lots of things I have going on. If you're in the real estate profession, we are actively building our real estate team, looking for people of integrity that want to work with integrity and help to reshape the profession a little bit, one client at a time. And on the Kingdom Alliance side, Justin, I don't know when this episode is going to air, but we have our live academies that are going on. We have something called the Radiant Leadership Academy Level 2. It's a 9-week, literal life-changing 9-week live virtual course that you can be a part of. We have our Radiant Leadership Coach training. So we raise up coaches so they can teach all 7 of our academies out there in the world as independent coaches, and just, continuing to do the do and become the version of me that God saw in his mind when he knit me together in my mother's womb.
I love it. And you should write a book if you haven't already.
I've written a couple.
Good. If you want to give them to me, I will make sure I put them in the show notes, links, and all of that, so that I'm sure I know I'm not the only one that's going to say, I want to read that. So please make sure we have the links to that, and we'll put them in the show notes for you guys. I'll put Michelle's info in the show notes as well. And you guys, if you love this episode as much as I did, I don't even know what I expected going into this episode, but this was so far and above what my anticipation was. And I just absolutely loved it. It was so, so good. So if you're listening to this and you loved it too, please share it, tag someone in it. If you listened to Michelle and you loved what she said, reach out to her and tell her that. My favorite thing is, as the host, when a guest comes on and gets a message about their episode on my show, it's the best feeling in the world to know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And I truly believe this podcast is an opportunity for me to do that. So Michelle, from me, Michelle, to you, Michelle, thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, for just your loving support and all of the things that you do. I just don't know how God wouldn't want more of us in this world. So I honor you and thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. All right, guys, until the next time, I'll see you in the next episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast.